would like to introduce Collin Austin. He's the Chief of Everything, which is a title that I think I'm going to adopt. He's an entrepreneur who wants to change the world, which seems to be in keeping with our mission as well. Collin had a vision to be for new scooters for less, to be the most trusted go-to scooter dealership in existence, and to revolutionize the entire scooter industry with their core values, innovation, and by creating that ultimate customer experience. New Scooters for Less was recently recognized by the University of Florida as one of the top 100 fastest growing companies in the world, led by a Florida Gator. So, please come up and welcome, or Collin, come up, and all of you please welcome him.
Well, my name is Collin. I'm the COE, the Chief of Everything at New Scooters for Less. And I just wanted to start by telling you guys a little bit about myself. That's me right there in the middle. And our logo, you probably see this on scooters all over Gainesville. If you see this NS for L, that stands for New Scooters for Less. And yeah, look out for those scooters. So let me just tell you a little bit about myself. I am absolutely obsessed with social media. Is there anybody else in here that's obsessed with social media? Bill, right on. I'm also obsessed with hashtags. I hashtag everything, whether it makes sense or not. It doesn't matter. Like even this right here, I brought one for everybody today, actually. So look, we got t-shirts. I hashtag t-shirts, hashtag boom. There you go. So everybody gets to take one of those home with them today. But yeah, I'm obsessed with social media and hashtags. I gotta give myself a little bit of a humble brag. Shannon hates that. Humble brag, that makes no sense. But I actually think that I am the king of taking selfies. Okay, I don't think there's anybody that can take a selfie better than I can. And here's proof, okay? Like here's me at a networking event here in Gainesville, Chamber After Hours, getting out there, taking a selfie. Look, hey, we got Bob. Bob, this is a great selfie, man. I'm proud of you. Look at that.
Wow.
That's pretty awesome. And then I don't think has anybody else gotten Kamal from the chamber or the mayor to take a selfie with them? See, this is proof that I'm the king of selfies. And of course, it wouldn't be complete without my team. This is actually a selfie of us that we took when we went to Vanderbilt just last year. Just a little side note, if you ever want to learn a lot about your team, the best way to do it is to rent an RV, load up the entire team, drive to Tennessee, and spend an entire weekend with your team inside an RV. You will learn more than you ever wanted to know about your team, I promise you that. Does anybody in here Snapchat? Yeah, we actually have a couple people. I'm excited. Awesome. Well, if you want to Snapchat with me, my name is NS for L Collin. You will get the greatest Snapchats of your entire life. So please do. David, are you on there? Yeah? Yeah. And of course, like a lot of people, everything that I do is for my beautiful family. I have a wife named Shannon. We've been married for almost 8 years. I got 2 beautiful baby boys. And this is Schaefer right here, and this is Maddox on the left. In fact, when I was in here a couple months ago, I shared a very unique fact that both of these boys were born on the exact same day, 4 years apart. That was August 24th of 2009 and August 24th of 2013. And you would think that that's very unique, right? Born on the same day, 4 years apart. But that's actually not the most unique part of the story. The most unique part is that August 24th of 2009, when Schaefer was born, was the first day of school. Do you want to guess what the busiest day of the year is for a scooter dealership? The first day of school in August. So now all my friends make fun of me. They just think that my wife and I have sex one time a year, and that this is what it leads to. But it's all right. We were saying let's plan better next time. We're not going to let this happen again. And of course, it happened again 4 years later. My team was very upset with me. How can you let this happen? How many of you guys have been stuck behind a scooter before? Okay, that's completely our fault. We take 100% responsibility for that. In fact, a couple years ago, I asked I got on Facebook, and I said, is it considered karma when I, the owner of a scooter dealership, get stuck behind the slowest scooter in Gainesville? Because that's what happened to me one day, and the general consensus was yes, that is definitely karma. So let me tell you a little bit about my story. I went to the University of Florida from 2000 to 2004. I majored in business. And my 4 years at the University of Florida, that was the longest I had ever lived in one place. My dad was actually in the Air Force, so I bounced around all the time. I actually went to 3 different high schools in my 4 years of high school. And when I was at UF, I used to live off of campus. I used to live on the west side of campus, over there at 20th Avenue. And here I was, I would go out to the bus stop in the morning, and I would sit at the bus stop waiting for this bus to come. The bus would approach, and as it was coming, I'd get up off the bench, get ready to get on the bus, and then it would drive by with these big words across the top that said full bus. And this happened all the time. I could never get on the bus. And if I was lucky enough to get on the bus, after standing out in the Florida heat for 10 or 15 minutes, I'd get on the bus and it would be really cramped. It'd be like sardines on a bus, and I'd have to hold the rail. And of course, being in that heat, I get a little sweaty, and there's usually like a really cute girl right here, so it was just not a good situation for a college student. And on top of that, I remember I went to the career showcase at UF, and I'd started the company in March of 2004. I graduated in May of 2004, but in January of 2004, I went to that career showcase, and here I was, college student, dressed in my suit, had my resume, and I'm going around from recruiter to recruiter, and I'm shaking these individuals' hands, and the entire time I'm thinking to myself, oh my gosh, I am never gonna work for you. It was just kind of like one of those light bulb moments that maybe being in the corporate world was not for me. So, I decided to start a scooter dealership. And of course, there were other issues that were arising at the same time. I don't know, I'm sure you guys have noticed over the last few years, the University of Florida continues to build on the only land that they have left, and that's their parking lots. You see a new building go up, it's usually on a parking lot. And 10 years ago, it would cost $30 to park a scooter on campus. Now it's $156 to park a scooter on campus. They didn't have scooter parking 10 years ago. They actually had these hashed blocks at the end of each row of parking. And if you could fit your scooter in that hashed block, that was considered the safe zone. That was scooter parking. Well, now they've actually had to create all of these scooter slots all over campus and create scooter parking. And this is the impact that our team has had on Gainesville. We just kind of show you some of that growth that we've had. In 2012, we sold 434 scooters. In 2013, we sold 517, and last year we sold 613. And we're well on our way to do well over 700 this year. The goal is actually 800 scooters this year. This is my team. I actually have about 20 team members right now. These are their headshots. I think it's funny because if you don't have a headshot yet, because you're fairly new to the team, we actually create a Post-it for you. We draw like a stick figure and put you on the wall, so there's like Post-its all over the wall for the new team members. But we have a team of about 20 people, and here we are 11 years later, and we were just recognized by the University of Florida as one of the top 100 businesses in the world led by a Florida Gator that's growing. So top 100 growing companies, I should say. And it was really, really excellent. We obviously crashed the stage because that's what we do. And it was just really, really nice to be recognized by the University of Florida, the school that I love so much. And everybody asks me, so Collin, like, what do you really attribute, your success to? What is it that you guys have done that just makes you stand out above all the other dealerships? And it's not only in Gainesville, but it's in the nation. We're actually one of the top dealerships in the nation. And I always tell people that it comes to my passion. Like, I have a passion of just making people crap their pants. Like, I know that sounds weird, but I just want to deliver experiences that just wow people. And we actually call that, in the last year, we started referring to that as the Whoa Dam. And everybody's like, what's a Whoa Dam? Right? What's a Whoa Dam? I tell people it's an experience that makes you go, whoa, damn. Those are the kind of experiences that we want to deliver to our customers. We want them so impressed by what happens inside the dealership. And all that's kind of led into our core values. Now, our number one core value is to create and recreate that UCE, the ultimate customer experience. Everything that we do at our dealership is very customer experience focused. And so that UCE equals the Whoa Dam. I thought it'd be fun today because I'm so passionate about it to come in here and just give you guys 3 easy steps, things that you can do today to go home and start delivering WODAM experiences. In fact, I have these laid out for you guys, and I'm often told that, hey, Collin, when you're speaking, I can come up with some really, really great ideas. So I've included a little piece of paper here. So if any inspirational or good ideas come to you while I'm presenting, feel free to fill it out on this piece of paper. That way you can take it home with you.
Ideas for us or ideas?
Yeah, for you guys. No, I mean, I would love to hear your ideas, but things that come to mind that, if you hear from some of the examples that we're sharing, if you get an idea that could really help you deliver that UCE, that WODAM in your business or wherever it is that you work, then please write it down and take it home with you. And I would definitely love to hear it as well. So step number 1, I always tell people you've got to go back to the basics, okay? Customer service and presentation are everything. We live in a world where we just expect mediocre customer service, right? We go to businesses and we go into a restaurant and we just kind of expect this mediocre customer service. Now, what happens when you go in, you actually receive a great customer experience, a really great customer service? You're probably going to tell a couple people about it, right? I can guarantee if you have a bad customer experience, what are you doing? You're telling everybody you know, probably getting on Twitter, on Facebook, saying, oh my gosh, you will not believe what just happened to me. And so bad word of mouth is obviously, a result of obviously having that bad experience. But customer service is key. Oh my gosh, does this customer really expect me to help her? Yes. When people come in, they expect you to help them. I always tell people, presentation is also key. Does your store say wow? Now, how many people, do you have a store? Does anybody in here have a store? Okay, so business offices, I presume, yeah? For us, obviously presentation is key, having a very nice, clean store. We like to have a lot of bright colors, a lot of fine line. Everything is nice and clean and organized. Again, with the graffiti wall, straight rows, all that stuff is extremely important. And everything, even from the hang tags, all of that goes into a clean presentation. I often tell my team, I tell my team all the time, those first 10 seconds that a customer comes into the dealership are the most important 10 seconds, from the greeting to, just getting that wow factor when they walk in the door. How many of you guys, I always tell when you're talking about a greeting somebody for the first time, it's got to be super, super authentic, right? I have a problem with a restaurant here in town, and it's other restaurants, but when you walk into Moe's, they go, welcome to Moe's. Or sometimes it's, welcome to Moe's. It's forced, they're requiring their teams to say welcome to Moe's. So often, if the person doesn't really want to deliver that greeting and it's not authentic, then it feels forced. It's very, welcome to Moe's, very, very forced. For us, part of the customer experience is actually inviting customers to go through our service department. It's very important for it to be also very clean and organized. That's part of the customer experience. We actually like to take customers on tour through our dealership. And of course, the office. We have business meetings in the office. We do sales paperwork with customers in the office, so it's very important for it to be very pristine. And I always tell people, the disco ball is bonus. We have a disco ball in our shop, so if you ever want to have that little sporadic dance party, you can do so. I always tell people, how do you present yourself? So for those of you who do not have stores, a good way to present yourself is with your business card. I brought my business card here today so that you guys can see it. I left them all on the table. And just kind of give you a little unique story. I was in Nashville a couple weeks ago, and I got sat down at a table very similar to this. It was there were 12 people at the table, and it was just a dinner at this event. And of course, I got paired up with 11 other people that I didn't know, which is fantastic. But one of the gentlemen at the table actually had to pick up and excuse himself. He said, "I'm so sorry, guys. I got to excuse myself. I got to go." And I told him, I was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry I didn't get to really talk to you. Let me give you my business card. I'd love to connect later." I pulled out my business card, and all of a sudden, everybody at the table goes, "Oh my gosh, let me see that. Let me see that business card." They were fascinated by the fact that it was a scooter, and they're just like, "Let me see that business card." Well, my business card became the discussion for the next 10 minutes. And it led to me talking with this lady named Elaine Brodsky, and her husband was there named Norm Brodsky, and we started talking. I ended up talking to this person till 11 o'clock that night. We were the last people to leave, but I had learned so much from her because they had started a business called City Storage, and they had later sold that company for $110 million. And all of that opportunity to really connect, I have a personal friend in her, personal email address, I got a place to stay in New York if I want it. And it all became from simply pulling out this business card. So have a business card that really represents you and who you are. And step number 2, you gotta make it fun and memorable. I always tell people, if you don't like doing it and your team doesn't like doing it, then it probably sucks. Like, no, your customers aren't gonna like it. So it's gotta be fun and memorable. For us, that really involves a lot of pictures. We have such an elaborate experience when you buy a scooter from us. And this has evolved because, I mean, we didn't used to do this stuff when you bought your scooter, did we, Eric? See, so we've evolved over the time and created new ways to create customer experiences. And the biggest thing that we do is we go outside now and we take a picture, a giant selfie with every single person that buys a scooter. And here's another one. Here's a time where I actually sold 3 scooters at one time, pulled the entire team out there. Another thing that has come up over the years is we actually started bringing these balloons. This actually came from an idea. We have a culture committee that meets once a month. And I really encourage you guys, if you have a team, to pull your team together and discuss, ways that you can enhance the customer experience. We meet once a month after work for a couple hours. It's completely voluntary. We don't force any of our team to be there. We say whoever wants to come. We sit and we just discuss ways to enhance that customer experience. And one of our team members said, hey, what if we got a balloon, right? So let me grab one of these. If I can get it off here. What if we got a balloon and we tied it to the scooter and we put it inside the scooter seat? All the scooter seats have a seat compartment. So we put it inside the scooter seat, and then when the customer gets home for the first time, they open their scooter seat and this balloon pops out and it's signed by the entire team, just saying thank you for your business and so forth. Oh, now you got to hold this for me because if I let it go, it's going to the ceiling. But it was just an idea that came from the team, and I actually, to be completely honest, I actually didn't love the idea. I was like, okay, but my team decided to execute on it, and it's become one of the greatest ideas. I mean, our customers love it, and now our customers expect it, which is really weird because they see these pictures on Facebook and everywhere else. So if they come to the store to buy a scooter and they don't have a balloon because we ran out of helium, God forbid we run out of helium, because they let us know about it. And so I really, I would recommend executing a culture committee, talking about these things with your team. Here's just another picture. I'm just doing a couple extra pictures here so you guys can kind of see the different ones that we do. This one's over the top, little bird's eye view. And of course, if it's during Halloween, then we completely theme it out. We got costumes. It makes it a lot of fun. And here's one that we did during a back to school event. Now, here's what's really cool. Not only is this great for the customer experience in the present time, but more often than not, this customer gets their picture, they go home, they make this their profile page on Facebook, so it's their profile picture, and then us as the dealership, we get to tag all of these faces in there. So it allows us to get the picture out there via social media. And step number 3, always go a little further and give them a reason to talk. Now, for us, this is doing a lot of things that don't even have to do with the dealership in the present, trying to make money in the present. I always say go out and do something that you're not expecting to receive back. Just give and don't expect to receive back. Last week, we actually went to Library West, and did I say library? She made fun of me last week for saying library instead of library. But we went out to Library West, and we made all of these goodie bags, right? This is my favorite one because it said, may the curve be ever in your favor. But we put all sorts of energy drinks, all sorts of snacks, and we had, 150 of these bags, and we went through the library, and we just handed them out to students. And we just said, good luck with finals, good luck with finals, good luck with finals. And we did this, and we're not expecting anything in return. It was just something that we wanted to do. And it has a really cool impact. It's more of a long-term impact, though. And same thing goes with this. For Valentine's Day, we went to the University of Florida, and we went to all the scooter parking areas, and we wrote on balloons, Happy Valentine's Day. And we just hit every single new Scooters for Less scooter. And we put a little Valentine candy on there. So it was really cool because on campus, you saw the different parking pods, and you just saw balloons off of each one. And of course, other people were wondering what the heck's going on. They're like taking pictures and they're putting it on their Instagram feeds and that sort of thing. So it was really neat. And
I gotta jump in here. You only put them on your own.
On new Scooters for Less scooters. Yep.
Sounds like a missed opportunity there.
No, well, maybe we'll talk about it in a little bit. It's more of a thank you to our customers and the people that come to us. So one of the things that I can never recommend enough, and this is something that gets missed in today's world, is sitting down and writing a thank you card. It's super easy to do. It doesn't take a lot of time, and we send out a thank you card to every single person who buys a scooter from us. A lot of times you think, like, mom and dad come in too. They're coming in with their son or daughter, a freshman. It's an emotional time a lot of times because they're separating for the first time. So what we also do is we also send a thank you card to mom and dad, wherever mom and dad live, and thank them as well. But let me get out my little example here. But those little group pictures that we do? What we'll do is we'll take, in the process, they don't really know that we do this, we snap this little tiny Polaroid. And we simply just put the Polaroid right in the thank you card, and we send that to mom and dad, wherever mom and dad live. So once mom and dad get home, they get this little picture of their son or daughter getting their brand new scooter. And it's just a little extra thing that we do. Now, there are other companies that I really admire that just execute this beyond what we could ever execute on. I mean, I look up to these companies, so I thought I'd share a couple of examples today. The Ritz-Carlton does a fabulous job. They empower their employees. Well, they empower their employees by giving them up to $2,000 to resolve any sort of problem with if there's an issue with a customer. And that's really good because you don't have to, these employees don't have to go up the management scale to try and get something done. They can just resolve the problem, and that's huge. Another thing, I heard this story one time, and this just blew my mind. There was a guest that was handicapped and was trying to get to the beach and was kind of just making a comment off the cuff saying, it's really unfortunate that I can't get down to the beach. There's no handicap access. Well, overnight, the Ritz-Carlton built a bridge to allow that guest to get to the beach. And the guest woke up and saw that this bridge was built specifically for them. And I mean, there's just those types of things. Obviously, I know that that's on a much larger scale and it's a much larger company, but it's the fact that they care enough to do something like that, which was pretty awesome. Have anybody heard of Criff Dogs in New York City? Yeah? So this is a little hole-in-the-wall place in New York City, and apparently they make fabulous hot dogs. But that's not like what makes the place so viral. It gets talked about all the time, and it has nothing to do with the hot dogs as much as it does with this phone booth in the back. All right? People go to this phone booth, you walk in, you rotary dial the 1, somebody picks up and says, "Do you have a reservation?" If you do have a reservation, you come from the reservation, and the back wall of the phone booth opens up, and inside there is this secret bar. And the bar is called Please Don't Tell. Like, that's the name of the bar. This is literally a snapshot from their website. This is it. Like, there's no contact email form, there's nothing. This is the website. And the reason it's gone so viral, and the story is actually in this book, Contagious. I really, really recommend this book. This is an incredible book. But the reason it goes so viral is because of that. Like, it's just this secret place. It makes you feel like you're in a club, and this place, you have to call them at 3 o'clock on the day to get a reservation, and they're sold out by 3:30 every single day. And they've never done any marketing. They've never done anything to, I think the most marketing I've seen is actually a business card that says, "Please don't tell," and it has the phone number. And that's it. So it just creates this really unique experience. Now, for me, I'd be freaked out if I was the guy in the hot dog store and I see somebody go into a phone booth and then not come out of the phone booth. I'd be like, what's going on there? So, and of course their website is Please Don't Tell New York City, but I'm telling you that's everything on the website. I always tell people, start where you are, use what you have, and do what you can. This is a very, very simple quote from one of my, from Arthur Ashe. I just love this quote. And, you don't have to have you don't have to have lots of money. You don't have to go do all these elaborate experiences. You don't have to build bridges. I mean, start with a thank you note. Start with something so small. Start with something that you can do, and start asking yourself, did you make somebody's day today? Because if you start asking yourself this question, you'll start coming up with little ways to make somebody's day, and that's a really great start to getting to the WODAM. All right, and thank you guys for having me. That's all from me. I will take any questions if you guys have them.
I don't think I'm the only one that would say that a lot of young people are not these days, we don't expect them to think in terms of giving really great service. And so you obviously have a lot of young people working for you. So how do you find the ones that do understand that, or do you train them, or how do you get a team that follows your path?
I'll say this, I've been extremely lucky in our recruiting. Because of a lot of the things that we do, people are attracted to that. And I have a lot of people that come to me, especially I have the opportunity to speak in a lot of the entrepreneurship classes, a lot of the clubs at UF, these guys have had me. And every time I go into one of those places and I share the story and I tell them what we're doing and these things that we're doing, they fall in love with it and they come to me and they're like, I really want to help with that. I want to help with that. And so they become so engulfed into the story that they just want to be a piece of that. And another thing that we really do is anytime we're thinking about hiring somebody, we send out a newsletter to our customers. Because our customers have been on that side of the counter. They've been part of that process. They've had the balloon, they've had the picture, they've had all this stuff. So they know exactly what we expect when it comes to selling a scooter. So it makes it easy to train those people when they come on the team.
Is it a requirement to drive a scooter to be part of your team?
You gotta learn for sure. Shannon, have you still learned to drive a scooter yet?
I drove it in a circle once.
So I guess it depends on the position primarily. Yes, sir.
Hey, Collin, thanks for your talk. I went to a Vespa dealer, so I'm just curious, I don't know if you have the answer. Vespas seem to be twice as expensive, 3 times as expensive as your other scooters. Is there any reason why? Is there anything you can kind of explain why Vespas would be that much more people buying?
Why they're more expensive?
Why people buy them?
They are the very best scooters in the market, period. There's nothing out there that's better. The chassis of them are actually made of metal. A lot of the scooters that you see around the university are all plastic exteriors. So just the quality is much better. It's definitely the safest scooter on the road. If you get in an impact with a Vespa, it's gonna take that crunch a little bit better. So it definitely has the safety push. If I'm talking to mom and dad, why do you wanna spend $4,000 on a Vespa versus $2,000 on this? It's because of the safety. Now, in terms of us and the why, a lot of people ask me and say, why did you guys even get into Vespa? Because you're so focused on this student market. It was really interesting. In 2011, we had kind of reached this plateau. We kind of started to level off a little bit. And we saw this opportunity to expand into a completely different demographic, because the demographic of Vespa is definitely an older crowd. It's your 40-plus crowd, the professional workers, not students. We brought them on to really target the lawyers and really, the doctors at Shands, because there's parking issues over there as well. So it allowed us to expand into a completely different demographic, and it did just that. Our sales increased because we were able to sell to a different demographic.
Thanks a lot for your presentation. It reminds me a lot of the people, the fellow that gives inspirational talks about throwing fish in Seattle, in Pikes Peak. One thing I was thinking, that just a suggestion, you might have some sort of a facility you could offer to students when they go home for the summer or whatever, a place to park a safe place to park their scooters.
So we do that. We've been doing that for years. I never thought when I got into this business that I'd be operating a scooter hotel, But we do. We started doing storage, and that price, I mean, it's all over the place in terms of pricing. We've had it as low as $100 to right now it's $250 because of the amount of space we have. So it definitely goes up and down with the amount of space that we have. But right now, as we're about to get into summer, we have about 140 scooters in for storage, and we're charging $250 a piece on each one.
Okay, one other thing, when you sell a scooter, could you please suggest that they might every now and then pull off to the side of the road and let these 40 cars behind them go past?
Yeah, in fact, it's interesting that I bring that up because a lot of people don't know this. A lot of the scooters, and not ours, but a lot of the scooters out there on the road are actually in kilometers on the speedometer. So the students, they think that they're going 40 miles an hour when indeed they're not. And you know, all of our scooters in our dealership are in miles per hour, so that's not the case with ours. But there are a lot of cheaper brands out there, and I think a lot of students just don't realize that they're actually in kilometers. So that's why you get stuck behind that slow scooter. Yes, Bob?
Do you also rent the scooters? So if someone's coming into college and they don't want to buy one, can they just rent one?
Yes, we do. We're actually the only dealership in town that rents scooters. It's a good opportunity if you ever want to just see if it's right for you, especially for the college kids, because mom and dad sometimes come in and they're not sure. They know it would help their son or daughter get to class, but they're just not sure if they're going to be able to handle it. So you know, we'll invite them and say, hey, rent it for a week, try it out for a week. If you come back after the end of the week and decide to get one, we'll give you 50% of that rental, you know, towards the purchase of a new scooter. So absolutely, it's a great way to prove the business. Anything else? Yes.
I don't know whether you want to answer or not, but what's your balance of your revenue, service versus sales?
That's a good question. Sales are key for us. We definitely do more in sales. I would say it's about 60% sales, 40% service. Now, service is great because it really keeps us afloat during the slow times. You know, we go through February, March. We just had a very rainy season, you know, and it's very difficult to sell a scooter when it's cold and raining outside. It just doesn't happen for us. So for us to be able to generate that service revenue to kind of keep us afloat during the slow times definitely helps. And it's a very important part of the business, for sure. Yes, sir.
So you started the company. This is your brainchild. Tell everybody. Everybody has a setback. You know, when they start a business, or sometimes more than one. So tell us about one of your setbacks and what you did to overcome it. Your biggest challenge.
That's a great question, man. The biggest setback I had was in 2006. We had been running a company that had grown really, really quickly. Because I started this with a business partner. Me and my partner Justin, we had started in 2004, and you know, it took off, man. We got really, really lucky on some stuff. We were importing a lot of like these little stand-up scooters and little dirt bikes with motors, and anything that had a motor. If it had a motor, we were bringing it into the country, and we were importing this stuff, and we were selling it on eBay. Super, super fast. We had our own dealership website that we were selling it on really, really fast. We did 800,000 in sales our first year, and we did 3 million our second. And things were just, I mean, we went from having 1 employee to 12 overnight. And one of the funniest stories I'll never forget is we had imported a bunch of generators, and then Hurricane Katrina hit New Orleans. We loaded up all of these generators. We went to Baton Rouge. We had to go all the way up into Georgia, cut across, and come down into Louisiana. And we sold $200,000 of the generators overnight. And it was one of the craziest experiences of my life. But with that quick growth, you know, I think came, you know, just different visions. You know, I didn't like being the guy at the end of the 800 number dealing with, hey, my pull start broke on my little scooter. And I just didn't like that. I like the face-to-face interaction. I like the retail experience. I love selling a scooter to a customer. And he was more focused on the wholesale side. So in 2006, we actually split. And it was a very, very difficult time. He definitely had more money in terms of backing, like from family and that sort of thing. So the biggest challenge I had was when we sat down with our team. and we told him what was happening, that we were going to split the company, we had 12 people on the team that decided to go with him. And here I was, left all by myself, starting all over in 2006. And I had to completely rebuild from the ground up, create a new team, and that was definitely the biggest challenge I've ever had to overcome.
So the initial funding when you started the company, it was friends and family?
A lot of credit cards, but yeah, it was definitely friends and family. In fact, it took me about a year to get my dad on board. When I started the company, my dad told me, when you fail in 6 months, don't come crying to me for money. That was the motivational speech that I got from him, because I told him, I'm like, look, I want to be an entrepreneur. I want to do this. I think there's a huge opportunity. And he was very much the traditional, go work for a company, go have benefits, save some money, and if you want to do this later on in life, then good for you, do it. I looked at it as I didn't have a wife, I didn't have those kids, I didn't have a mortgage. Now was the time to do it, and so I did it anyway. And luckily, I proved to him that I was right, and he became an investor, a year later. Another story in terms of getting revenue. This was awesome. I actually had a customer come into the dealership and was just fascinated by the dealership. He's like, oh my gosh, how old are you? You're 22 and you own all this? This is awesome. And I just ended up really BSing with the guy the whole day. I just started talking to him, and he was just asking me a bunch of questions. So of course I was passionate about it. I'm just answering his questions. But what did I do? At the end of the night, I just sent him an email. And I said, hey Roger, it was really, really nice meeting you. Thank you for purchasing that little dirt bike today. If there's anything I can ever do to help you, feel free to reach out to me. And I said, obviously, as a startup, we're looking, for money to expand our business, to grow our business. And, if you know anybody that would be interested in investing in our company, please let me know. And he emailed me back and said, I would be very interested in investing in your company. And he sent me $45,000 the next day. And I do. But really, it came from recognizing that opportunity, because I saw this guy who fell in love with our business within just a few hours. I didn't know if he had the revenue to make any sort of investment, but I at least thought if he didn't, maybe he knew some people. So I threw it out there, and I got lucky.
Don't know unless you ask.
So, we definitely took the bootstrapping method. So you guys know, I own 100% of the company. That debt that we do have is interest. So, we pay interest on those loans. Yes, sir.
Oh, great presentation.
Thank you.
I'm thinking on those rainy days when you don't have a lot of walking business, you might expand to teach the WODAM experience for marriage counseling.
I might have to consider that. This was, so you guys know, this was a new presentation for me. I haven't done this one. I was a little nervous about it, as you might be able to tell. But yeah, I love this topic. For me, in terms of creating those WODAM experiences, it's definitely been what has set us apart. So I really like to get out there and teach that message.
Do you have any blogs or vlogs that you follow?
Yes, absolutely. So I have a video blog on CollinAustin.com. I talk about these experiences. I talk about other topics in entrepreneurship. So if you go to CollinAustin.com, you can click video blog, and it's right there. And of course, I blog on that same website as well. There was another question.
I was just wondering, do you have classes to teach you how
Do I have classes?
to teach you how to ride scooters and things like that?
Oh, to teach you how to ride scooters. So anytime we sell a scooter, you don't have to be nervous about riding one for the first time, because we have a full 35-point check sheet, and we go out after that picture. Somebody stays out there with you and teaches you how to ride the scooter. Usually it's one of our techs who's very trained in that, and they'll teach you how to ride the scooter. We also offer free delivery. We don't ever expect somebody to get on the scooter and drive right off the lot if they're not comfortable doing so. So we'll bring it out to your house and run through that process and teach you that process as well. And if that's not enough training for you, then we have motorcycle companies that we've partnered with that will offer a full weekend class. Yes, sir.
I'd like to start with a comment. Thank you for the presentation. It was great. Honestly, my favorite part of the presentation was the Ritz-Carlton and the hot dog shop.
Sure.
And because I'm a realtor, so I'm in sales, and so I'm always trying to test myself with how can I increase service. And I love that you're teaching that, but one video I saw yesterday that I'm going to share with you after this. talks about how your competitors are not in your industry. Your competitors are outside your industry where you're getting service. So let's say new scooters for less. One of your customers could have gone to a dry cleaner the day before and had amazing, excellent service from the manager, and they'd remember that. But if they came to New Scooters for Less and didn't have that same service, they're going to compare it to what they had from a totally different industry. So I'm glad that you saw that and you're teaching that, because that really makes you excited. My question is, how do you plan, or do you plan on expanding nationwide or worldwide?
That's a good question. I mean, we are exploring all opportunities. You know, I've been asked about the franchise model and doing these different things, and even owning another dealership. We've looked at setting up other dealerships in other college towns because our model is very successful for the college market. But the reason I've been hesitant to do so is because of the culture we've established. You know, I don't want to lose that. I mean, we're actually pretty well known in Gainesville for our very eccentric, loud, fun culture. And you know, if I did set up another dealership, it would be taking a team member from our current dealership, giving them partial equity in that location, and that way they know our values. They know everything that, because we have 12 core values that we just make every decision around. And if they could go and do that, then we would let them, absolutely. There's other opportunities for us to expand though. Right now, we've actually developed like an in-house application that we use to run our service department. And right now we're really focused on building that out because we think there's a lot of opportunity to scale that to other dealerships, other car dealerships, and that sort of thing. I'd be happy to share more with you on that later. Is there a question over here? So cool.
Whoa, damn, Collin.
Whoa, damn. Well, thank you so much for having me.